I was actually in the webinar for the MLB, the one that they've been doing weekly, and this time they were talking about hamstrings. And the best thing that I took out of it was one of the presenters. She's a physical therapist in Santa Monica, actually, so close to us. Her name was Holly Silvers Granelli, and so yeah, she's a physical therapist. She worked with soccer teams, and she transitioned to working with baseball teams as well. But her thing was that she came up with this warm up program, and I shared the link with you guys of the warm up program. And so she basically talked about why they came up with this program and then the results they got from it, the research they did from it. But the goal of that program was to reduce the risk of hamstring injuries throughout a season. And I think that goes in the kind of the same thing that you guys were talking about with the quarterbacks, right? Creating a program for them to try and prevent injuries. But so I like that, the warm up program. But another thing that she talked about was the buy-in factor, that a lot of professional teams didn't really buy into it. Like initially, she said how to serve it to a bunch of teams, and there was a lot of interest. I forgot if it was like, I don't know, maybe in the 40s, that the athletic trainers or physical therapists in charge replied saying, yes, we're interested in implementing this program. But then once it came down to it, only one professional team decided to buy in and actually implement the program. And so they only had data from that one team. And so
Which team
that
was
was
it,
it
if you know?
was it was a soccer team. I don't know if it was
Uh,
Seattle.
for sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think it was around like 60 teams that they asked.
Right. Yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy, right? And
Yeah.
so she said that initially there was a lot of interest, but then once it came down to it, only one actually implemented it. So I guess wanted to bring that question up to you guys, the implementation factor, um, and how that, I don't know if you guys have seen any of that in your programs, where like athletic trainers are able to take a program from research and actually apply it. And I know for me, when I was a CSUN, um, Steve was super, um, or like he really believed in the warm up program. So he had one for ACL prevention for basketball players, right? So there was a lot of glute activation exercises that he always had them do, and so he was one example for me where he bought into it. But I didn't see that in any of the other schools that I went to. So I guess I just wanted to bring that up to you guys and see what you guys think about that, or your experience has been with that.
For me, I work at Compton College. We don't really have a lot of resources or the space for to implement that warm up program or the time. So for what I have done is I gave it to the coaches. I said, because we were having a lot of injuries, especially during the first game for football. So then I gave the coach, hey, here is a warm up program. Do you think that you can uh, implement this before every practice? And he said, all right, that's fine. So that's the way that we did it. In terms of other places I've been, it's pretty hard to get coaches to buy in for that. I know at a D1 university, their strength and conditioning program said that they will guarantee 0 ACL injuries for the entire season, and they had 2.
Wow.
So, I don't know how you can persuade a team to take on your program without promising that much,
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
Thanks, Shanali, for sharing that. I think I've seen it once specifically. It was my first site at Pasadena City College. The athletic trainer, she had a prevention program for ACL injuries, and she did with the women's soccer team. And I mean, although she implemented it, it wasn't really done correctly. Like, athletes are doing it half-ass. And I think it goes up the chain, right? If the athlete doing it half-assed, then maybe the coach doesn't really take it seriously. And if the coach doesn't take it seriously, then the coach doesn't probably take the athletic trainer or the research seriously. And I think it has to do with the trust as well. If you don't trust your coach, you don't trust the athletic trainer, then you're probably not going to take it serious and not do it. Another time I saw was at Pepperdine, but it wasn't really like a systematic approach as far as a prevention program. It was just athletes coming in, and we kind of tailor whatever they're asking or whatever their deficits are, and we do that as a prevention program with them. So it's kind of different, right? For the community college, we kind of had one program for everybody, no matter what position. And for baseball at Pepperdine, we kind of tailored it to them, whether they were like an infielder, outfielder, catcher, or pitcher, because we all have different demands.
Yeah, for me, at CSUN, when I was a student in my undergrad, they were doing that ACL prevention program, but as soon as I became a GA, they no longer had it. I don't know what happened to it, but right now with us, we're starting to develop programs for baseball and soccer. So I was helping the athletic trainer with that baseball intervention program, where we started with doing writing down like the eval measures, range of motion, strength, the rotator cuff, and then we kind of put together this program where the baseball players can do it for 2 days out of the week, and each day is split up and involve different exercises, just so it adds variability and they don't get bored. Sorry, I just got a notification. So basically, like, it's split up in 2 days where they're able to do it with a limited amount of resources, such as like without dumbbells or even just having resistance bands, just because a lot of athletes, they'll probably use that as an excuse, like, oh, I don't have dumbbells or other equipment, like I just need to do something quick. So that's what we try to target, and keeping it under, like, let's say 20 minutes. I think we had it around 10 to 15. So we're just going to see if once school starts back up and sports starts again, we'll see if it's implemented and if athletes take it seriously.
Yeah, I think something you mentioned that makes sense is the variability of the warm-up program, or the progression of it, because sometimes athletes might get bored of doing the same thing, and then they start thinking, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm good, I'm healthy, let me just do something that's more challenging, or let me go and do some strength training. Like, why do I got to do this small movements? To They don't feel it, they don't see the benefit of it. But I think that obviously we are trying to implement something that has been created with the use of research to be able to help athletes. We're not just having them do something randomly, right? And so I think it's important to try and find something, like mentioned, that is um, that provides some variability and interesting progressions, just to keep them engaged. And I guess just keep reminding them as well, right? Hey, you even though you don't see the daily benefit of it, in the long run, at the end of the season, the goal is to make sure that you are healthy and you're strong, and if you do get hurt, you can come back from that injury even quicker, because you've been doing these exercises that are taking care of the stabilizing muscles, and you don't see it physically, you might not see the aesthetics of it, but it's actually helping you. And I feel like some athletes might buy in when you're able to explain things a little bit deeper. You can even share the research with them and be like, hey, this is the reason why I'm doing it. Show it to them and give them proof of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think from that MLS, what was her name again?
It was Holly Silvers Granelli.
Yeah, so when she was showing the numbers, I was pretty surprised, because I felt like there was a significant amount of decreases in not only injuries, but the severity of those injuries and how long they got back into play. So
Yeah.
Even just telling that to the coaches and athletes can go a long way of them even adhering to that program.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you got to listen to the scientists, right? Like they spend a lot of time finding these things out, and if we are able to implement them, it'll make our jobs a lot easier, and it'll keep the athletes, our patients, a lot healthier.
Hmm.
All right. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Yeah, I'll add something just funny. Yeah,
Mhm.
during that season where the athletic trainer did implement the ACL prevention program for the soccer players, I think there's 3 ACL sprains, and
Okay.
and luckily I got it to attend the one of the surgeries, so that was fun for me, but unlucky for them.
Right. That's always the way to see it, right? Like for us, we never want to see anybody get hurt, right? It's unlucky. But at the same time, if nobody gets hurt, we don't have a job.
Mm. A good
so
experience.
so we get the
Yeah,
experience.
exactly.
Yeah, we get the repetitions, and